If you claim to be a Spider-Man fan and the Brand New Day trailer didn't leave you cheesing, you gotta check yourself, because we are just a few months away from Spider-Man Brand New Day, and we finally have our first look at the post-No Way Home Peter Parker, and man, it was a revealing one. So let's take a few minutes now and dive deep into everything we learned about the newest take on our friendly neighborhood hero, and take a look at the major changes that the MCU is making to Spider-Man. Oh, and yeah, don't worry, we're going to talk about the X-Men here as well. Before we begin, let me know in the comments below about whether or not you're excited for this one, because there are many Spider-Man fans who believe No Way Home should have been the end of the Tom Holland Spider-Man saga. And just think about it. His life was essentially wiped clean by Doctor Strange's spell. His loving girlfriend MJ no longer knows who he is. His best friend Ned, clueless that he even exists. Spider-Man ditches everything he knew in his previous life to start anew. And sure, that's a perfect ending, leaving everything to come after that ambiguous. But when you saw that fresh new suit at the end of No Way Home, you gotta admit, a fresh take on the web slinger was too much to pass up, especially if this Spider-Man that we're about to see is completely overhauled. And that's what we're getting. Because the MCU is making significant changes to Tom Holland's Peter Parker, and the new trailer certainly indicates that we are not going to waste any time in being exposed to his new reality. There are two significant alterations that bring us to what many comic book movie fans know to be a more traditional Peter Parker. Firstly, we're heading back to the streets. One of the greatest elements of the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man trilogy is its groundedness. The stories Sam Raimi told all feel like they could mostly conceivably happen in the world that we know, particularly New York City. The Spider-Man character on the page is especially rooted in the streets of the city that never sleeps, and Maguire's Spider-Man felt like a seamlessly integrated tax-paying New Yorker. And basing the series in this environment allowed for more grounded villains, not, say, like Matt Reeves' Batman universe per se, but characters that don't feel like they were shot out of the stars necessarily. Not that there's anything wrong with that, of course. Cosmic quarrels are also very much a part of Spider-Man's background in the comics, but is it fair to say the MCU has leaned into that perhaps a little bit too much with the Tom Holland Spider-Man? He's been fighting multiversal threats since his second film. I mean, we have quite literally seen him in space before we've seen him face off with some of his most well-known New York villains, and that is about to change. The trailer indicates to us that the Peter Parker we meet in Brand New Day has been very busy protecting the streets of his city rather than worrying about bigger threats. It's been widely expected that we would encounter a cast of antagonists in this movie, and the trailer gives us glimpses of fights with villains that fans have long awaited to see. In those 2.5 minutes, Spider-Man encounters Tarantula, Boomerang, and yes, even the Hand, all of whom are making their big screen debuts in this saga. And yes, after nearly a decade of waiting, we finally get to see Michael Mando's Scorpion come to life, just as teased in Spider-Man Homecoming. He is in his full, teched-up Scorpion suit, and this is no doubt going to be one of the most anticipated encounters of the entire film. And keep in mind, there are several characters confirmed and rumored to appear that weren't even seen in the trailer, Tombstone in particular, so Marvel is leaving a bit on the table here, and that is a good thing. These villains are going to play an integral role in making Peter's purpose much more meaningful, especially as far as protecting his city goes. In fact, one of the clear themes of the movie is going to be about what the best practices for policing New York City are, because as expected, we see plenty of Frank Castle in this trailer as the Punisher also makes his big screen debut. This movie, of course, drops after the events of Season 2 of Daredevil Born Again, so I'm certain we're going to find out quite a bit about the state of Wilson Fisk's New York City just from that. The Punisher and Spider-Man clearly, to put it lightly, disagree about how protecting the people of New York City should go down, which I have no doubt is also going to add both intensity and levity to Brand New Day. We're also going to get glimpses of an expanded MCU, including maybe a look at what Peter was doing during the events of Thunderbolts. At least that's what it's kind of hinted at as he swings with someone in his arms in a great homage to the iconic cover from 1962's Amazing Fantasy 15. Tarantula's scene is also a comic homage, so the powers that be did their homework by that sense. There's also a major key MCU debut teased here. Don't worry, I'm going to get to that in just a second, but there's also a big return. Dr. Bruce Banner. I'm not talking the smart Hulk we saw in Avengers Endgame. I'm talking the OG Bruce Banner. He's normal. He's teaching, and Peter needs answers, because Banner may help him navigate the other big change that Marvel is making to this Peter Parker, and it's that he's finally getting his spider powers. One of the defining characteristics of the Peter Parker we know in the MCU, and it's also one of the most criticized, by the way, is that the majority of his abilities have come as a result of the technology provided by Tony Stark. This was, of course, done deliberately to add emotional weight to Stark's eventual death in Endgame, and yeah, to help grow Peter from Spider-Boy to Spider-Man. But we all know the traditional Spider-Man origin story, right? Bit by a radioactive spider, spidey senses, web shooters, all that. And that's where we're finally heading here. Throughout the trailer, it's teased that Peter's DNA and genetic code are quite literally changing in real time, and he's having a crisis over how to understand what is happening to his body. Keith David is heard explaining the spider life cycle, so there are a lot of moving pieces here that add quite a bit of intrigue to where Peter's story is heading. But above all else, it is clear that we are going in the direction of this Peter having more actual spider-centric abilities, something that will almost certainly be a welcome change for many fans of the character. And there's also the risk that Peter won't be able to harness these mutations, indicating that if they spiral out of control, we're at least flirting with the possible debut of Man-Spider in the MCU. Now, I don't think we're quite going to get all the way there, and it would feel like packing a lot into this movie, but if we are at least getting a glimpse of what could become of Peter if some of these things go south for him, then there will at least be much more pressing and personal stakes at hand beyond the threats on the streets. And on the banner front, by the way, keep this in mind, he doesn't currently know that Peter Parker is Spider-Man, so if something were to get out of control, or perhaps if his mind were to be altered in some way, maybe things could get a little savage. Now you're saying, John, what do you mean his mind altered? That's the other big reveal here, because without even seeing her face, we learn quite a bit about Sadie Sink's mystery character. We've been speculating for a long time, in fact, ever since she was cast in the first place, as to who the Stranger Things star could be playing in the MCU. And the general consensus, our theory as well, by the way, has been that she could be playing Jean Grey, fully introducing the new era of X-Men into this universe. And let's just say that this trailer does nothing to dispel that notion. In fact, there's only one true shot of Sink in this trailer altogether, as we get a glimpse of what appears to be her raising her arms and summoning something. We also briefly see what I believe is her in captivity at one point, but that doesn't mean we don't get a feel for how powerful she is. Mind control is very clearly introduced here in the Brand New Day trailer, as it appears that no one is safe from the grip of this new threat. We see guards fall victim, someone Peter's trying to save is clearly under the grips, and Spider-Man is seen being warned by Trammell Tillman's character that they're facing a threat they can't even see. It's very likely, based on this trailer, that Sink's character will be introduced as a misunderstood mutant villain, and it feels almost certain at this point that she will be the MCU's Jean Grey. There's a lot of mystery surrounding her character, and it's a smart play to give only the smallest taste of what's to come with her. We do know that the MCU's X-Men are about to slowly be introduced over the course of the next few films, and while the focus will obviously be on Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars, Brand New Day serving as the soft launch is a bold play, especially with all the other characters that are going to play a prominent role in this next chapter for Peter Parker. It could be easy for some to get lost in the shuffle. And naturally, I'm sure the internet will be disappointed that some of these characters probably have less screen time than others, but think of it this way. No Way Home shattered the MCU with the timeline-altering stakes at hand. Now, Brand New Day has to top that, and by taking Peter's story in entirely different directions, personally and professionally, it's going to add even more layers to our friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, all while laying the groundwork for something much, much bigger in the MCU. And that's ultimately what this is all about, right? It's not just a brand new day for Peter Parker, it's one for Marvel as well, as it turns the page towards the climax of the MCU as we know it. What caught your eye most in the trailer? Let me know in the comments below.